All right, so in appropriate YouTube clickbait fashion, here are my top 5 hacks for backcountry meal prep. Now you can call these hacks, tips, ideas, whatever you want to call them. They are 5 things that I would like to share with you that I think can increase the effectiveness of your backcountry meal prep. This is not a detailed video as far as nutritional planning for the backcountry goes. If you want something like that, I've done 2 of these videos before. I will link those right up here right now. Also, I have created a fully downloadable PDF that includes my thoughts on backcountry nutrition, as well as several meal plans that you can literally copy and paste for your own backcountry needs. Now, if you want to download that, there's a link in the description of this video. Shoot me your email address. I give you the download for free. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of myths in the nutritional space, and I do my best to dispel these. Now, these are in no particular order, but we might as well list them chronologically. So coming in at number 5, we're gonna field strip your meals. Now, this means exactly what it sounds like. We are going to get rid of the manufacturer's packaging and the oxygen absorber from each of your meals. Now, on average, this is going to save you 2.1 ounces per meal. I'm just getting ready to head out on a 12-day goat hunt. So in total, this is going to save me 25.2 ounces or 1.6 pounds. Also, greatly reduces the amount of space this takes up in your pack. Those Mylar packs never fold down. They take up a bunch of extra space. They're great for super long-term storage, but once you've decided you're going on a hunt, the vacuum packs are gonna last you 6 to 12 months, no problem. I wouldn't trust them for like the 20 or 25 years that the Mylar packs paired with an oxygen absorber will get you, but you don't need that, so it's a waste of weight and space. Now, the question I get asked most often is, are these safe for boiling water? The answer is unequivocally yes. In fact, I sous vide in these packs all the time as well. What I do is I open up the vacuum bag, I pour my boiling hot water in, and then I use 2 binder clips to close the top, and I just let it sit there for the appropriate amount of time. They will get a little warmer in your hand, but to be quite honest with you, when it's chilly at night, usually it's quite nice. Or I just use my shirt sleeve or something else, a spare hat. It's not a big deal. It's not something I tend to worry about. But field stripping your meals is a highly recommended tactic. Number 4, overpriced backcountry foods. So right here, we have a $4 package of peanut butter. Now, this peanut butter has 200 calories, comes weighing in at 33 grams, 17 grams of fat, 8 grams of carbs, and 5 grams of protein. Now, over here, we have 50 cents worth of Kraft peanut butter. And the nutritional value there is 220 calories, weighing in at 36 grams, with 18 grams of fat, 8 grams of carbohydrates, and 6 grams of protein. So from a macro-based perspective, these 2 products are identical. The only difference is one costs you $4 and the other one costs you 50 cents. Now listen, I would like to have a quick conversation about clean calories versus dirty calories. If you're not already, you should be following Dr. Mike Israetel and Dr. Lane Norton, because both these guys do a very good job of showcasing peer-reviewed studies that support an evidence-backed approach to nutritional planning. This idea of dirty calories versus clean calories or empty calories versus full calories is complete and total BS. There's no scientific backing for any of it. Because I know some people are going to hop on. For instance, when you go to the Trail Nut Butter website, they say that they use pure maple syrup. from a nutritional, physiological perspective, there's no difference between maple syrup, corn syrup. The idea that sugar is somehow evil and carbs are somehow bad for you, there's no scientific evidence for any of this stuff. Now, maybe you happen to digest certain carbohydrates better than others. I think that's important information. I do think there are some oils that can be better processed by human being than other oils, and I wouldn't probably recommend having Kraft peanut butter be a mainstay of your nutritional plan day to day. However, we're talking about a couple of hunts a year for 10 days each. There is zero difference between these two peanut butters other than the fact that one costs 8 times more than the other because it's being marketed to you as some like backcountry bullshit. I want to give you another perfect example. This pack of Chewies costs $3. This pack of Chewies costs 50 cents, and I took it from my kid's snack cupboard upstairs. From a macro perspective or macronutrient perspective, or the actual nutritional value that this has for you in the backcountry, these Chewies are identical. One company has spent a shitload on marketing for, backcountry organic type people. The other company hasn't. So the real pro tip here is that assess what you need in your backcountry meal plan from a macro perspective and look at the cheapest, most efficient, tastiest way to fill that gap. Don't buy into all the backcountry food BS. It's a waste of money and you're not getting any additional nutritional benefit. Coming in at number 3 and kind of following up on that don't buy the hype nonsense, I really used to enjoy the Peak Refuel mountain berries and granola. I think it costs about $10 USD. I finally sat down and thought about it, and I was like, this seems like a very simple meal idea. Why am I paying $10 for this? So I essentially took their idea and made it for 80% cheaper at home. So again, I take one of my vacuum bags. I'll put the exact list of ingredients on the screen right now. But essentially, I use whey isolate protein, a cereal that I really enjoy, and then some type of dried berry. Now, I've tried a whole bunch of stuff, and I've narrowed it down to vanilla whey isolate protein. It seems to be the best flavor for mixing with cereal. I tried chocolate and chocolate peanut butter, and it always tastes a little bit funky. Vanilla seems to be the closest to milk. I also like a particular brand of Cinnamon Crunch Cheerios. It seems to hold up better in the vacuum bags. And even when I pour the water into the isolate, more of the crunch sticks around. It's more of an enjoyable eating experience. And then I decided to use craisins. I just really like how chewy they are. I've tried using the freeze-dried berries, but they kind of get this weird foamy texture to them when you rehydrate them. And for the extra weight savings, it just really wasn't worth it. And again, I'm packing these things up for a couple months at a time, not 25 years. So the combo of vanilla protein, Cinnamon Crunch Cheerios, and dried cranberries has been the go-to for me. Very lightweight, super cost effective, and you're getting a 50-gram dump of protein early on in the morning. The other thing is, I don't tend to eat as soon as I wake up. I used to be that it would be the first thing that I do. I actually find I'm more efficient in the backcountry when I just have black coffee in the morning. And if I happen to be glassing for the first couple hours or even a quick hike for that first morning to get up to a glassing peak, I like to sit for the first couple hours. And then normally when things start to slow down or I get a bit of a break in the action around 10 o'clock, then I'll have my breakfast, and that kind of carries me through to a later lunch and seems to spread my food out over the day a little bit better. All right, clocking in at number 2, I'm going to recommend you use 2 dry bags to carry all your food. So a lot of these tips are for longer, extended backcountry trips. So as soon as I get over, 5-6 days, I split my food in half. And what I'll do is put equal amounts in 2 dry bags. And then as the trip goes on, I kind of readjust the days between the 2 bags to keep them even. Now, there's a couple reasons I like to do this. Number 1, it packs up much more effectively. I find I can move those 2 bags around better in my backpack and get a better weight displacement. Number 2, it's easier to stash. Lots of times I will have some type of loop in my plan, or I'll know I'll be going into an area for 2 or 3 days and then coming back out along the same path. Now, if that's the case, I can take one of these bags, stash it in a tree, stick it somewhere where it's going to be safe, and I don't have to carry that, 8 to 12 pounds around with me needlessly for 2 to 3 days in between. Number 3, it's more safe and easier to hide away from bears when you need to. I'm going to tell you something that most people don't talk about. A lot of people are going to tell you they always keep their food out of their tent. This is not always the case. When I am deep in the backcountry and the only thing keeping me alive is my food, I don't stash my food up in a tree. I keep my food with me in a tent with my weapon or my bear spray, because sometimes I'm so far back that if a bear was to get my food out of a tree, that would pose more of a risk to me than the alternative. So I'm willing to protect my food if it comes down to that. Now, you still have to make wise decisions. I don't keep open wrappers in the tent. I don't eat in the tent. I don't keep anything that would smell. I keep my meals, each day wrapped in a 1-gallon Ziploc bag, and then all of those gallon Ziploc bags wrapped in the dry bags. Now, the nice thing is, if you have 2 bags, you can take one and stash it a few hundred yards away, and you can keep the other one with you. And then you could just keep a day or two, almost an emergency supply with you inside the tent. This giving you the security of protecting your food while also the safety of having the majority of it away from camp, perhaps having them go over in that direction instead. Before we get to the last tip, I want to take a brief moment and share about an online community platform I have built from the ground up, Mindful Reviews. I have no sponsors. I am not financially incentivized by any brands in any way, and that enables me to share completely unbiased information with you. Now, if you find that helpful and you want to support me in some way, go to mindful-reviews.com. There are very affordable monthly memberships. We just introduced a new item, weekly Zoom calls. So now I hold a live webinar with as many members that want to join every single week. We go through people's pack lists, food lists, go over their hunt strategies. Basically, it's just a great community of like-minded people who are all trying to become better hunters and want to have a cognitive approach to their hunting and gear selection. So if that's something that interests you and you want to see more of this content, mindful-reviews.com. Now, the final hack is a combination of both a strategy and a tactic to execute on that strategy. So the tip itself, or the hack itself, is do not skimp on calories. Every time I see people bragging about going in with a pound of food per day, I think to myself, you have just taken the one item that is most responsible for your effectiveness while in the backcountry and then handicapped yourself by only bringing half of it. It would be like me telling you you're going to need 3 liters of water a day, and you go, okay, I'm going to make do with 1.5. Like, you are voluntarily reducing your performance while in the backcountry. There are better ways to cut weight than skimping on calories. And the best way to bring additional calories is fats. Now, I don't want you to go overboard here. A lot of people think they can jump into keto or ketosis while in the backcountry and then jump out once they get back out. That is not the case. And if you refer to that PDF that I linked at the beginning of this video, I go into depth on why, unless you are already accustomed to being in a state of ketosis, thinking you can jump to a predominantly fat-based diet while in the backcountry and not bonk while you're back there is ridiculous. And anybody who advises you to do that doesn't know what they're talking about from an evidentiary perspective. However, that doesn't mean you still can't use carbohydrates as your primary fuel source and still use fats in order to supplement and get some extra calories at a reduced weight. So real basic here, protein, 4 calories per gram. Carbohydrates, 4 calories per gram. Fats, 9 calories per gram. So that tells you that you're getting double the caloric benefit per gram out of a fat as you are out of a carbohydrate or protein. Now, the drawback is it takes longer to access that. So I don't recommend having those fats before a big hike or any time before you're going to engage in strenuous activity. You need time to process. You need fatty acid oxidation, usually need a more aerobic context. Fatty acids are not good for anaerobic activity or things where you don't have the ability to break it down with an ample supply of oxygen in the bloodstream. Again, I go through all of this much deeper in those first two videos and that PDF. However, I have a couple products I've found. One is a powdered MCT oil that I add to each of my meals when I field strip them. You're only adding about another 15 grams, but you're adding about another 140 calories. Also, I have a keto hot chocolate that I like to drink before bed. Again, if you bring 15 grams of this, it's another 140 calories. So just right there, I only added 30 grams, which is an ounce, to my daily meal plan, but I added almost 300 calories with just an ounce of additional product. So don't skimp on calories and utilize those fats as an additional way to bump up the caloric requirements of your backcountry meal plan without increasing the weight too much. All right, there you have it. 5 quick ideas in order to increase the effectiveness of your backcountry meal plan. I hope that was, helpful. If more like hard-hitting tactic-like videos are something that you want to see more from me moving forward, please drop a note in the comments section below. Any other hacks you have, also drop them in the comments section below. If you want to argue with any of my ideas, I'd love to engage in that conversation. And as always, thank you for tuning in.